Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the June meeting of the Romeo Downtown Development. Could we stand and say the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Lisa, can you do a roll call, please?
Carr?
Present.
Humphries is absent. Nelson is absent. Grant?
Here.
Rose?
Here.
Hayes is absent. Ms. Nancy is absent. Parker?
Yep.
Stevens?
Here.
Quorum.
Thank you. We don't have anybody for public forum. Does anybody need to add anything to the current agenda? If not, I need a approval to approve our agenda for this evening.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Carol's not here tonight, so you didn't receive anything from her? No. So we don't have a treasurer's report for this evening. Guess that brings us to you, Lisa. Sorry. We got lots of minutes to approve. Did you all read them from the 3rd, the workshop, the regular meeting, and then our special meeting on the 11th? I need an approval.
I'll make a motion that you approve as presented.
Okay.
I'll support.
You didn't agree with them?
Oh. It's fine.
Okay.
There's a motion made and seconded.
Yes? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now we can skip down to you, Lisa.
I spoke with Ray before the flowers went up. There was some concern about the cold weather, so he postponed it just a couple of days. But as you can see, they're all up. We do have, they did note to me that there is a problem with the very back pot in Parker Alley and then the ones that are on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently there's some skateboarders that like to
Oh.
jump off of the stairs that are there, and they tend to do a lot of damage to the
edges,
pots.
yeah.
So they didn't put one on the pole, because that seems to be something that, I don't know, they like to, I don't know what they do to it, but it's not good.
So did they leave the pot empty too?
They didn't put anything on the pole, but no, there are flowers in the pots
Okay.
at the bottom, so they'll just have to watch them over the summer and see how they work. I picked up some prizes for Megan for Chalk the Walk. DIA, I don't know if it was DIA or the installation company, but they seem to have ran into some glitches with workers and so on, so they're gonna be installing around the 3rd week of June. Miss Dig has been called, all the locations are marked. I went out and marked everything. Actually, I went out and marked them now twice because of the rain, and wanted to make sure that they saw them. They're supposed to be up by the 3rd week of June, so look for those. And I just did some office work, did the packets. Obviously, I don't have a lot of time to be in the office, but I was there Saturday and did packets and got the mail and took care of the things that needed to be taken care of.
Okay. Well, thank you. On to unfinished business. Amanda from the county had reached out to me. They, as you know, are working on our rewrite of the DDA. Do you guys have that Google thing in here? Oh, there it is.
Yep.
This is, if you had a chance to read through it, this is how the 2006 blueprint, or not, the DDA plan was written. They wanted us to go through this to see that we still want all these
things in our current plan. So I guess the number one thing was building and land acquisition. As far as I know, since 2006, we've not purchased any land or anything. But Bill, you seem to be a proponent of us engaging in something going forward, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So this is something that we would leave in our new plan.
I would say so.
Yep. I think so too. I think we need to start looking at
I think so, and I know we also put a line item in the budget to
for that.
start building a
Right.
fund for that, which,
So I agree on that. The road, streetscape, signage, wayfinding improvements, this is another thing that we've talked about for a very long time. I guess I have a question, and I don't know, Lisa, if you can, when they have the amount of money designated for each one of these steps, is this over a accumulation of time that you would have collected that kind of money? Or how does that work? Or how did they come up with the dollar
I do
amount?
believe, you know, if you look down, it says timeline is needed over the life of the plan and as funds become available, so
Okay,
it's,
best guess
the way I'm
estimate?
getting, the way I read this is it's over the life of the plan, because obviously you're not gonna have, you know, the $900,000 that they're
Right.
estimating unless you were to, you know, borrow or something like that.
So I also think this road, streetscape signage and wayfinding improvement should be left in this thing too. And then parking improvements, we've been talking about this, goes hand in hand with getting some land. Go ahead, John.
I'm just, I mean, looking at all of these, not to jump ahead or to jump you ahead. Yes, I think this all should be. This is all sort of like the
The
basis,
meat.
I think.
I think it's the meat of what.
It's a question of, let's try to tackle some of these that
I
haven't been
agree.
tackled at this point. They're not all gonna be done at one time, but they should be in this plan, yes.
Well, this new plan goes out to 2032,
2037.
2037, so I agree, I think basically everything that was in the old one should remain in this one.
We actually do some of this stuff.
We
The
do.
holiday lightings, we're
Well,
trying-
yeah, towards
do.
the end, we do some of it,
We're
but,
trying to keep up on actually replacing stuff on an annual basis.
mhm.
Is there any way, and I don't want to get off track too much on this, but with these things that we could build in there, a way to sort of reimburse people who might do things,
I
create a
think that
slush fund?
falls under the facade improvement program, which I don't think we've ever really actually had it on our books as a program for people that come to town and do improvements on the faces of their buildings, right? So like John said, some of the stuff has been done, but these major big things have never been done. So I think it's our opportunity to try to roll this down and tackle as much as we can. Or for.
Should we, looking at the top of the first page here where it's prioritized,
Mm-hmm.
should we maybe highlight some of these as prioritized? Everything seems to be prioritized as low priority.
You're right.
Unless I'm missing something. Would this be time for us? Does it matter if we were to kind of agree what maybe where we can prioritize, or is that not really gonna?
Well, it's our opportunity to tell the county what we believe should be happening. So, yeah, I think we should prioritize what's going on here.
Well, the roadway, streetscape, signage, and wayfinding is part of that is actually already in motion, if you want to
With the-
consider pedestrian crosswalks.
So make that a high one, high priority.
Have we gotten any details on those, kind of like what that would look like? Because a crosswalk means a lot of different things and looks a lot of different ways. When do-
Were you here when they did the presentation? I don't think you were here. Christine has the whole presentation.
When did she do it? Last?
I'm gonna say February?
We have packets with the pictures of it. They passed
Yeah.
out us, there's
It spelled
photos
it
of the
all
whole
out,
thing.
what it was gonna be and look like.
Pictures and the samples?
Mhm.
It was in one of our Zoom meetings. It was because I remember sitting outside.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I was on the phone maybe.
You were,
Yeah.
and if you go back on village council meetings, because
All right.
this was presented at village council level also, I think you could find that packet that would have all that information.
Thank you.
Or.
Greg, I can bring mine over.
I was just
I'll run
gonna
a copy for you and I'll bring it over
That'd be,
tomorrow.
I'd love that, thank you.
Yeah, because I was just gonna say the same thing, I can get you a copy too. But that had to have the plan to obtain that grant we got. They had to submit that drawings and stuff, so.
Okay, good.
Land and building, is that a medium priority until we stack up some money?
I think they're all high I don't think it's an either or. I think we have the capability to focus on, if something comes our way, we gotta be ready. You know, if a building comes our way,
Mm-hmm.
we can't say, well, it's not a high priority, we're still focused on parking. We gotta seize the moment, I think.
I tend to agree with that.
I agree
The
too.
other part of it is a reality check, and we don't have the money to do it.
But we also have the opportunity to go out and borrow money as a DDA. We can bond
Actually-
for it.
We can, but
I mean, money's pretty cheap right now.
what we can borrow is actually circumscribed by what the villages actually borrow.
Really?
Yes, and
Aren't we our own independent taxing authority?
what the bank manager explained to me when I checked on this 3-4 years ago, when we were talking about getting more serious about trying to acquire the building that's being repaired,
Mhm.
was what we want to borrow would be totaled against whatever the village has already borrowed, and then you're getting into statutory formulas, period.
Well, I guess we'd have to go and look
You'd
at
have
it and
to-
weigh it.
What we want to do might be circumscribe what the village has already done.
I guess I-
It's all added together, and then that's how it was.
Okay,
The
but I
bank
guess I
manager might
would
have been wrong,
like
but-
go out and ask again, just
Of
to
course.
verify. So if an opportunity came before us that we could jump on and we didn't have all the funds,
We should make that a priority to set up a line of credit now in preparation for that. So
well, I guess I'm gonna talk to,
A bank manager,
not the village's accountant.
I think you'd have to talk to.
I'll talk to a bank manager, Joe Warden, I think would be somebody to go to
That
and
would,
talk to.
yes.
Mhm.
I'd like, they could not loan on vacant land,
Okay,
period.
okay.
I said, oh, really? Yep.
Who couldn't loan on vacant land?
Bank.
Really?
This was PNC.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. I think Tri-County has a little more leeway. They're here, they're making the decisions. PNC, you're going to another higher up somewhere else that doesn't know anything about Romeo. So I will talk to Joe and see what the answer is. But I agree, this is probably another high priority thing. If we have an opportunity that comes up.
Well, we can't borrow money without the village council authorizing us to do it.
Okay.
Period.
That's fine, I think we're just getting to the
Yeah.
point where we're just gonna, let's at least find
Look
any
at it,
opportunities
right.
and find
Mhm.
out.
The parking improvement thing seems to be high priority too, but that is part of our agenda about redoing a parking study. The one that was presented to us, I think, was done 20 years ago. But again, to John's thing, if you flip through it, I think most of the stuff in here, we want to continue to keep in the new plan, would be my suggestion back to the county.
And we have chipped away at it somewhat.
Some things, yep.
Yep.
Mhm, yep. Unfinished business is this lighting partnership. She sent you out the estimate from Rothorn. And I don't know, Bill, if you were in here, I couldn't figure out why those darn globes are so dirty and you couldn't wash them. Well, they're plastic. I didn't know that. So we have the opportunity to retrofit existing and replace globes with this, with same style. It's $76,000. We committed in our March meeting to this project $35,000. So I just need a motion that we just go ahead and let them have the $35,000 and get the project going.
Is the council going to pick up the rest of it then?
Yes, yeah.
I'll make a motion, we commit $35,000, as we previously discussed for the project, because it's, needs to be done.
Needs to be done, yeah.
Kurt, to verify, we had that line in our budget?
We did.
That we presented, I believe?
We actually, when I went back and looked, we had 45,000, but Bill, you back in March made the same motion to commit 35, no more than 35. And in talking to Christine, they were hoping that we could get them painted too, painted and new, so I'm with, did somebody second Bill's motion?
I'll second that motion, 35,000.
Lisa, can you do a roll call on that, please?
Parker,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Brandt,
Yeah, yes.
Tar,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
motion carries.
Now, I'm not quite privy, the senior banners are up, and from what we talked about at our last meeting, bless you, what we talked about at our last meeting is the DDA would pay for the install, correct? Is that what I understood from our budget?
We allotted,
That seems correct to me.
That's what I thought, so I don't know who put them up, and I guess they'll send us a bill, right? They look,
I've seen people out there taking a picture.
oh, I know,
Yep.
of their
I assume it's
kids.
of their kid.
Yeah.
I don't know, but.
They look great, because I went through Elmont over the weekend, and their little signs are about this big of their kids, so they do look really nice. So I'm just gonna assume they're gonna send us a bill for the install.
Sounds right.
Okay.
If they forget to, that's fine too.
I kind of agree with that too. Okay, the fall committees. We talked about in October doing each weekend rather than one big celebration of Harvest Day, that each weekend would have an event. So I thought tonight maybe we should form that subcommittee that can get working on it. The chamber in Starkweather, we are going to do the Art and Wine Walk that second Friday in October, so that could be one activity. And the gentleman that opened the new gallery reached out, he would like to be part of that conversation, putting that on. So I know, Carl, you had, do you want to be part of that?
definitely be part of it, sure.
John, did you say you were, or no?
The Art and Wine Walk,
No, the fall committee,
the committee itself?
yeah.
Yeah, yes, I would.
Okay. Do we assign the people that are absent?
Sure.
If you would take a citizen, just a resident volunteer, I would volunteer to sit on one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, you're kind of like our girl Friday, aren't you? So I got Carol and John and Lisa.
Probably Megan.
I was just gonna say Megan, yeah.
If not, we'll.
Coercer, you shouldn't miss a meeting, right? You think that's enough from this group, for the subcommittee?
Yeah, probably.
You mentioned RJD, was that just for the one event, or was it for this committee?
It was just for the art, they reached out to me about the
Okay.
Art and Wine Walk. I mean, you can have a conversation with them.
I was just curious what
Yeah.
his head was, okay.
Yeah, if you'd be open every weekend for whatever we come up with for every weekend, that'd be great.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so we have this committee. Do you want me to send out an email to form dates to meet? Somebody probably needs to spearhead that, right?
Sure.
All right, I'll send you guys emails. conversation on the parking study, I brought it up just a little bit ago. Remember Christine presented this thing, was it back in April? And I don't even know who did, Lisa, do you know who did the parking study originally?
Whoever, I believe it was the same people that did the project,
Oh,
when
Is that a high
when they
Palma
wanted to
thing or
do the
something?
reverse.
pardon me?
Is that a high Palma thing or something?
It was a high opponent
Yeah, it
thing,
was a
yeah.
high opponent.
So that's all the way back from 2006, right?
So Zach and I kind of audited that report on my quadrant and the north of 32 on the same side.
Mm-hmm.
And as I recall, not a lot is really different than what was shown there.
Right.
I don't know as though I don't know as though a new parking study would really tell us much. What I'd like to understand, I know Bill and I had a little back and forth on it last meeting, and I really think it'd be important to do, is find out, really order up a staked survey to find out, especially on my side of the street, who really owns this stuff. I think what you have is a lot of chest beating, and whoever yells the loudest and says they've been here the longest, they own this. And I don't care what the answer is. I'm not faulting anyone,
Right.
trying to find anything out. And I own some property outside of the town. I may be very surprised that I don't own something I thought I owned.
That happened to me, Tom and I, on our house.
Yeah, you know,
My property line is not where I thought it was.
right. So I get it, and I'm willing to chance it, because it is what it is. But then we can start talking about, like I know the River God just did this. They just did a survey, a stake survey on their parking lot so they can resurface it. Well, it turns out they had to rip down a handful of trees there, and they're gonna rip that parking lot out and make a new one, and it'll curb and gutter, and, you know, everything else will be very nice. But, you know, who would have known that a fence and a tree and everything else is, so I think that's important. And then the next thing with that is begin steering towards these dumpster corrals along that line, because on my quadrant now, it's becoming important. Little Caesars, JL's eventually, bank and gun store should all be on a pad somewhere.
I agree.
And there's no reason why we can't go and do that. We can get the money to do it. We can assess maybe to help merchants pay for it. I don't know how we do it exactly, but I think that's part of it. We need to know who owns what before
So you're
we start.
suggesting a survey?
A staked survey, so
Staked
we
survey.
really all understand who owns what. And Bill says the corners are marked. That's great then. All they
They
gotta do
should
is
get,
find
them.
the corners and restake.
$30,000 isn't gonna get you much.
Pardon me?
$30,000 is not gonna get you much of a state survey.
No?
No,
I paid $1,500.
that's for a house. When you
Well, I guess I would have to have somebody give me a,
What I would point out to Greg is that this has been done many times in the,
so where's the paperwork, though?
actually, I think, and I'd have to ask Rich, but I think all surveys by registered surveyors are actually filed with the county. Believe it
Okay.
or not, I mean, I think all that stuff is there. We talked about who owns what, Greg, and you can, I think we could walk around in an hour or two, just take any one of the many dozens of maps we've got, and you can pencil in who owns what. It's not that difficult. I can't honestly
But to
think-
your point, if the county does have a copy of the survey, then that would be someplace to
It's-
start.
It's like, an obscure factor that comes to mind is the
What about these
South-
survey
the
companies? that-
southeast corner, or southeast block one, B1S R1E, meaning from Paramount to whatever's on the other side of Zach.
Mhm.
I know that went to circuit court 35 years ago because it turned out that the descriptions didn't work. And Tom Stanley and another guy owned a building where the copper pot was, if you're old enough to remember that. And so they had to go to court and quiet title. It's been done. My building is actually, if you take any tape out there, you're gonna find out it's 1.5 feet too big. There's 39 feet of building there, there's a 37.5-foot description. And it's been that way since 1876, so good luck in, making some changes here. I mean,
Well, you can.
you-
Yes, you
I
can.
know the village and the guy in the corner, Ricky, that line, that exact line of how that lays out has been surveyed due to people not agreeing about where it is.
Right.
Um,
But to Greg's point, I think it's an opportunity, if it's on file, let's see if Amanda and them from the county can help us acquire some of that information.
It's probably a reasonable
And-
statement.
And the purpose of it isn't just an exercise to see some orange flags put here, it's then to say, hey, look, Mr. Building Owner, not the business owner necessarily, look, you have 40-foot of parking lot back here that's broken up, leaning poles, bumpers broken, and everything else. We have money now, we will help you do this, and you'll take on hopefully part of the cost, we can assist with some of the cost through this, and we'll have a payback schedule or something like that. I'm oversimplifying, I know that, but we have to do something with behind those buildings.
Start
to-
somewhere, yeah.
To uniform it, unify it and make it look, there's no
Attractive.
reason this side should look differently than the other side.
And I've said that all along. These other quadrants, once the dumpster corral got done and the pavement got done over there, all these other quadrants should be yelling about that.
Right. So, yeah. I'm
Maybe
all-
I'll reach out to Amanda and see if they have any access to these kind of records to see what's going on there.
Hopefully they could just, maybe with satellite, they could just find them, put a pin in, stake, and say, hey, this is the corner. And now we have something we're dealing with. So I believe that's part of the parking study, in my
Yes,
point.
yes. I don't necessarily agree to do another parking study. That's not gonna, we all know we have parking issue, right?
Has
Well-
anything changed in the last 30 years?
No.
Okay, let's move on from the discussion.
Right. But to that point, not a parking study, but maybe a parking solution. Zach and I, as we walked around, we talked about this briefly the other day. There's a lot of parking on my side of the town there between Zaco's parking lot, the River of God, a bunch of room over there at the Lions Field, and then behind the bank, there's no shortage of parking. That River of God parking lot, if a brew house or something went into Zaco's property as an example, of course, they got across the street, that piece they own as well, but also the River of God would be a great overflow. There's plenty of
But
parking.
as a private parking lot, they own that part.
No, I understand that, but we can go to them and the other ones and say, look, we got a program. We're gonna provide some sort of lease program. We're gonna insure your property. We're gonna plow it, maintain it, and we just need we're gonna pay you something. We're never gonna buy the parking lot from the River God, but if we can render, and I'm using them as nouns, if we can enter some sort of agreement, it could give someone confidence, yeah, I'll put a brew house there, I'll do something, because now I have a lease agreement that's long-term, and I know where my patrons are gonna park,
True.
as an example.
Mhm.
So, I think Mark Clark's a perfect example on the other side of town. At night, his whole building, parking lot is there. This Tudor house, I don't know anything about it, but I know there's been that struggle with parking back there. That opens up 15 spots. His parking lot, using him as a noun, if they're willing to participate in the, in the sharing program, no different than the Congregational Church has done with the post office, I think
office.
forever, right?
Well, I don't think they do that anymore.
Coming to an end real quick.
Well, I get it.
Forever is coming to an end real quick.
Right.
Ed?
Pardon?
Is this
And
under,
They publicly have said that the building will go for sale.
oh, I knew that, yeah.
So,
But we don't know who bought it, right?
it has not been sold that I know.
Okay.
It's just that it's coming for sale.
So for me, I'm gonna reach out to the county, the people that are working on the DDA plan, and see if they, by chance, can get any, survey results that might be on hand, so I will do that.
That's great.
Board member comments. Greg, do you have anything to share?
I've shared a bunch already. You've been very patient. Thank you.
Oh,
I think that's, I mean, our building there, we bought, I think everybody knows, we got the brick ripped off the face, we're waiting on 2 different architectural drawings, some interior stuff, some elevation stuff. Taylor submitted some of the elevation drawings, preliminary stuff, but there's no secret, I mean, we're putting in, you know, Anderson divided light windows, we have, reclaimed brick, we brought it from Detroit, 6 pallets of it the other day, it's
So it'll match
unloaded.
your building then
Yep.
too, yep.
Yeah, we couldn't, you know, we kicked around for about a minute doing a glazed brick like it originally was, and getting a little wonky with it, and maybe, you know, retrofitting it to the original Shell gas station picture that we found, but nah, we're just, no. But it's gonna be nice, we're gonna have some overhead door in front to gain access to a seating area in
Okay.
front.
Oh, that's a great idea, kind of like, what's that restaurant that the garage doors come up? Yep.
Yeah. No, we've got, you know, everything's been ripped out of it, we're gonna,
Now, is Little Caesars remaining in the building?
yeah, they've been there 50 years, 50, and they just
Wow.
recently signed a new lease with the former owner, so we'll honor it, we'll work with them. We are talking to them about trying to get in on a facade update along with us. I'm not gonna push it one way or another, we've got enough to do, and we'll get to it eventually. But it'll be a grand improvement. We're excited about it, and, you know, this is, you know, I hope people realize, you know, unless you're involved in these programs, you don't realize it. You know, you go and you invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into these things, and you know what I'm talking about. And I've been shocked, and I'll talk to Christine about it more. Kind of got a lot of guff in the beginning. What are the dumpsters for? Everybody wants to know. They're calling, you know, these things. Why are they there? It's like, nobody appreciates the fact that we've now torn off a mansard roof and we're beginning to bring it back and restore it to its original. It can be very frustrating, especially for a party coming from out of town or new to it. And I think it's us as a DDA living through it again. This is a good reminder of what we need to be doing here to help people who want to come into this town and get something done and make some changes and improvements, because there's a lot of opportunity. We need to have a welcoming way of doing it. And even myself sitting on this DDA, the forums and the this and that, and, you know, parking, signage, and, you know, who's gonna give us definitive answers on things. I do not cherish the position of outsiders coming in here trying to do it. It should not be like that.
I agree. I
know.
totally agree on that. But congratulations. I
Yeah.
think it'll be an asset to downtown.
Yeah, we're excited.
And that you were able to help one of our current business owners get up on Main Street.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
think it'll be
awesome.
great.
So what is the projection for him to get there?
We're gonna push hard for Labor Day. Of course, the trades and the materials will come into that, but, you know, we're, like I said, as soon as these architectural drawings are done, we can pull a few more permits. With the electrical's been, you know, the new panel's been installed, they inspected it today, and now, you know, the final will go in for all the lights and the appliances and things like that, but we've got some concrete on the schedule to get done, and, you know, various things like that, so,
Well, that's great. Again, congratulations.
yeah, thanks.
Bill? Nothing? John?
I will say, first of all, I think I've said it a little bit already. First of all, the event, Chalk the Walk, thank you and congratulations. I know Megan spearheaded a lot of that. I know Carl was very heavily involved in that. And especially Stephanie, who's the artist who came out third weekend, I think it was, and did her thing in that Starkweather Alley. It was phenomenal. I mean, the response was
The pictures that
great.
you saw on Facebook of these kids
Pe-
on rafts and stuff.
Oh, they
it
kept
was-
coming out
it
at
was
all
very
hours.
cool.
Where is it, where is it? And then getting their pictures in it. So just simply hats off to that as far as an
And that was an
event which.
easy, not a big investment for
Yeah, I
people
mean,
walking around.
I know it took some time and, you know, as these all do, but, again, thank you and congrats on that. One other mention too, Rachel Mack, I'm sure you guys all know, just congratulations to her. And her homecoming kind of
I think it was
pulled
too
off.
quick. It was too quick.
Well, it was a matter of hours.
Right.
When we found out the schedule. and with what was done in a matter of hours was very commendable, so.
Mike Romano came through with.
That was a lot of fun, yeah, all of a
Yeah.
sudden, in front of our place, you know, we somehow became the center of it, which was great. Mike Romano, thank you, he came out. Carl had balloons all laid out in front of us on Main Street, and Rachel came along, and she stood there, it was probably about an hour with the kids taking pictures, and, I mean, you should have seen some of these little kids
I
were
was
just
watching, it
thrilled.
was fun.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, again, just congrats to her also, just on her achievements, just for the
Yeah.
village and for the whole area. It was pretty great news, so that's what I got.
I will put on my chamber hat. We are hosting our State of the Community Luncheon on Monday, the 14th. It's featuring keynote speaker, Congresswoman Lisa McLean, and then we have the municipality leaders coming through to give updates. So it's at Greystone, and doors open at 10:30. Carl?
I just had to make more business. Can we add on the tree to be watered by that same company so I don't have to haul buckets of water across the street?
Lisa, can you reach out to Sean?
Is that, I
Yep.
don't think it'd be an issue, but I just want to make sure, I didn't want to just assume we could do that.
Yeah, I'll reach out.
And you did mention something about the pot, which I agreed with you. I think just to keep it uniform
For the DDA, yeah.
for the DDA, let
Okay.
the DDA pay for the pot.
Okay.
Do we
Okay.
have to make a motion on that since we're spending money, or you guys already did this before I was here?
We
so-
collected money for the tree. We did not
Okay.
collect any money for pot or plaque, which is,
Well, I think the DDA can pay for that part,
But
right?
I think you guys, we agreed to the tree and the plaque, correct?
oh, did we?
I believe we did.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe
So
we
now
did.
we want to get a pot for
We just need
the,
to pay for the pot.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
And,
so,
yeah, if it's under a certain amount, you can just,
okay that?
you can
Okay.
pay that.
Yeah, it was $160, I think, off the top of my head. I think
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Okay, so that's not a big deal. Just wanted to let you guys know. Somebody said, should we ask somebody else to make a donation for the pot? But I think since it's a DDA thing, I think it should all
DDA
come
gift,
from the
yeah.
DDA, I thought. Well, that's all I got, guys.
Make a motion to adjourn.
That was quick.
Come on, Bill.
We need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
You may have.